सेलिब्रिटी मेकअप आर्टिस्ट और रेगुलर मेकअप आर्टिस्ट में क्या डिफरेंस है?
It's not that you learn as a celebrity makeup artist, you become one.
बॉलीवुड के सेलिब्रिटीज के साथ काम किया और पाकिस्तान के भी टॉप सेलिब्रिटीज के साथ काम किया.
I'm quite professional. I'm not somebody who will go and joke with them and be their friend. I mean, the first time I worked with Deepika, for example, I was so nervous. She's a dream client. She really is. She's so courteous. She's lovely to work for.
ब्राइटल लुक चाहिए या टैन चाहिए. एक क्वेश्चन है कि ये ब्यूटी स्टैंडर्ड सेट किसने किया है?
Well, you can go back to Cleopatra. I mean, the amount of beauty products that woman has produced.
गोरा ही खूबसूरत है, टैन खूबसूरत नहीं है.
There are a lot of people who do say this, that we are so complexed as people that we think कि गोरे जो हैं, अगर गोरे हैं तो आप, अगर गोरे ने वही बात की है जो किसी देसी ने की है, तो you're more likely to listen to a gora person than a desi person. Listen, I am dark and I'm proud to be, who I am. So Amna Ilyas is one of those models who did.
इसी ब्यूटी स्टैंडर्ड की वजह से एको इंडस्ट्री ने मतलब प्रोड्यूस होगी, कॉस्मेटिक इंडस्ट्री, जिसके अंदर फिलर्स आ गए, बोटॉक्स आ गए. इस वजह से डोंट यू थिंक कि सोसाइटी के अंदर एक डिप्रेशन आ चुकी है? But how you are empowering women with your field?
I have done classes in London for women who are completely housebound.
विमेन का रोल मॉडल कौन है?
Musarrat Mirza is amazing.
अब जो विमेन डिवोर्स हैं, ठीक है, एंड दे आर लुकिंग फॉर सम अपॉर्चुनिटीज और कुछ मेकअप का भी काम करती हैं, तो आप उनको क्या एडवाइस करेंगे?
I would say go for it. I would absolutely say go for it. Makeup is something that you learn over time. It's not something that you're born with. As I'll give two. My advice would be understand yourself before you ask somebody else who you are. And secondly, happiness comes from within you.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर वॉचिंग अगेन. आप देख रहे हैं इन्फॉर्मर और मेरा नाम आमिर. इन्फॉर्मर का एक और सेगमेंट है जिसका नाम है वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट, जिसके अंदर हम पाकिस्तान की जो भी सक्सेसफुल वुमेन हैं उनको बुलाते हैं ताकि उनकी स्टोरीज़ आप तक पहुंच सके. और अगर आप लोग भी उस करियर को, उस प्रोफेशन को परस्यू करना चाहते हैं तो उनकी स्टोरी आपको हेल्प करेगी. आज का जो टॉपिक है, आज हम बात करेंगे ब्यूटी इंडस्ट्री के बारे में, जिससे मेकअप हैं, फिलर्स हैं और जो भी कॉस्मेटिक इंडस्ट्री से रिलेटेड जो भी चीज़ें इसके अंदर आती हैं. सो आज के जो हमारे गेस्ट हैं, 16 ईयर्स ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस है उनका इंडस्ट्री के अंदर. और आई एम गोना वेलकम माय गेस्ट मिस आयशा बेग. अस्सलाम वालेकुम आयशा.
Assalamu alaikum.
थैंक यू सो मच फॉर कमिंग.
Thank you for having me on.
आई एम ऑनर्ड कि आप आए. अच्छा आयशा, बिफोर वी कंटिन्यू, अपना थोड़ा सा इंट्रोडक्शन दीजिए क्योंकि मैंने इतना अच्छा दिया नहीं है.
No, it's okay. I have been doing makeup and hair for Bollywood mainly for the last 16 years. I do cover all aspects of makeup, so from bridal to editorials, TV, film, theatre, special effects, you name it. I cover pretty much everything. There isn't. I can't think of a medium that is out there that I have not touched. And it's been a very interesting journey to say the least. Coming from an artsy background, I think this just gave me a platform to really thrive and enjoy myself.
अच्छा, आपने बताया कि आपका जर्नी शुरू हुआ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन से. सो व्हाट इंस्पायर यू टू मूव फ्रॉम एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन टू मेकअप इंडस्ट्री?
So I was always an artist, whether I was painting, sculpturing, doing whatever. But it was one of those things when you stumble upon a job and
And you
a job that you can't say
liking
no.
it, yeah.
And you're not liking it, loving it. And it's see, I'm a talkative person generally by nature. So it gave me that it opened that for me that, administrative job, it was a very good job. It was a very
But quite limited,
senior position, but it's quite boring. And especially when you have all these paperwork and you've got to do everything yourself. And then suddenly you step into this world where everyone wants to talk. Everyone, while you're doing your job, you're still talking about different things. It could be, a happy occasion you're discussing anything and everything. So it was nice. It was just nice to be around people who were on the same wavelength as you.
100%. जब आपके साथ कोई बंदे हो, आपको अपनी जॉब अच्छी लगी हो, then you start to progress. Otherwise, you start hating, बड़ा toxic environment हो जाता है.
It's like what they say, when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
100%.
So for me, that was the case when I started working in makeup. And since makeup, then it was hair afterwards, then costumes. It just, when you work in the kind of industry that you do, and with my background of fashion and also fine arts, it was just a natural progression. It didn't feel like, I'm doing something different. It just felt like, oh, ye karna hai, I'll do this. And I think with costumes, it just became It was actually a really funny story, small one
Okay.
behind it. That I went sourcing for a particular song, and me and my assistant were going around Central, and it was about midday. So 12 o'clock, we just checked. I just checked the phone, and 24,000 steps, and I gasped. I was like, and she was like, "Is
मैं
everything
ज़िंदगी में कभी
okay?"
नहीं किए इतने.
Nay, no, I do. That was my
Just
target.
kidding.
So when she said, "What's wrong? Everything okay?" I said, "I'm walking this much. I'm working,
And
and
I'm
I'm getting
tired.
paid for it. I
Okay.
love this. Like,
Oh,
सब
wow.
कुछ एक ही साथ हो रहा है, and मुझे
Hmm.
extra जाके gym में भी time नहीं लगाना पड़ेगा. This is great. I love it. So I think I'm one of those half glass full wali log. Anyways, I'm quite positive generally. So that for me was like brilliant. Like not only am I getting paid for what I love, I'm also working out. So yeah, you can't go wrong.
लंदन कॉलेज ऑफ ब्यूटी एंड थेरेपी से आपने अपना कुछ कोर्सेज़ किए हैं.
Jay.
तो उसने आपको कैसे हेल्प किया आपके क्राफ्ट के अंदर?
I think any course that you do, any education that comes under your belt, it just helps you grow as a person generally, anyways. But also when you are in a workforce, you know your craft, and I think that's very important. It's how you polish it after. That's a different story. But it's important to know your craft, and I think that really did help me know my craft, so to speak.
100%. देखिए आपने 16 इयर्स ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस के साथ अपने मेकअप इंडस्ट्री में लगाए, ठीक है, देन उसके बाद आपने कॉलेज में गए, एनहांस किया. आजकल की जो यंग जनरेशन है वो ट्यूटोरियल्स देख के ये काम शुरू करते हैं, तो व्हाट वुड यू एडवाइस टू देम कि इस करियर के अंदर कितना स्कोप है और उनको किस तरह अपने क्राफ्ट को बेहतर करना चाहिए?
दो चीज़ें हैं इसमें कहूँगी मैं। एक तो ये कि आप जब टिकटॉक पे देखते हो वीडियोस एंड इंस्टाग्राम पे एंड सोशल मीडिया पे ऑन जनरली, दैट्स नॉट व्हाट द रियलिटी ऑफ लाइफ इज, बिकॉज आई
ओके.
हैड अ फ्रेंड सेइंग ये मुझे लुक चाहिए, बट शी
हुँ.
केप्ट सेइंग नो, एंड व्हेन आई सेड ओह ये चाहिए, लेट मी डू दिस फॉर यू, आई टुक अ पिक्चर फ्रॉम माय फोन, इट वाज अ फिल्टर, एंड आई सेड ये चाहिए. She started laughing. She goes, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is how it is.
हुँ.
What you see on social media is not what's real out there." That's number one. So आप ये ना सोचें कि जी, and वैसे भी fashion and media and films, it looks very glamorous. But when you work behind the scenes, there's
इट्स
nothing
टोटली
glamorous
डिफरेंट.
about it.
या.
It's you work 12 hours a day on a
हुँ.
film set. Um, you have 2-3 hours travel to wherever you need to be. Um, and you're working on your feet the whole day, pretty much. So it's not as glamorous. Yes, on screen it looks fabulous, but it's not like that on behind the scenes. It's hard work and a lot of hard work. And my advice would be that if you really want to jump into makeup, yes, of course, do your courses. Get your craft under your belt, and so when you do turn up on film set, you know what you're doing. And I think it's very important to do an apprenticeship or become someone's assistant to begin with, and learn कि क्या होता है set के ऊपर, because it's very important. बाहर से all that glitter, it's not always gold. So लगता है कि जी बड़ा आसान काम है, बड़ा अच्छा काम है, या बड़ा fun काम है. It's not. It is hard work, long hours, and then I mean I've been very lucky, but people are not. They're not all going to be nice to you on set. ये चीज़ सही नहीं है, and it's yeah, you need to have a um you need to go and basically work backstage to get that experience, to know whether this is what you want, because people think that this is what they want, but can they actually cope with something like that? It's not always easy.
ठीक है.
You need a lot of patience, a lot of
वो तो
patience.
किसी भी काम में चाहिए आपको
Yeah,
पेशेंस
true,
है.
but
या
it's
स्पेशली वर्किंग विद द पीपल इज़ नॉट ईज़ी.
more so in the
या.
in the media industry,
या.
because
100%.
you are dealing with high-end celebrities who have their demands, and if you're not if you're not, one, prepared in terms of, like, knowing your craft, and two, if you're not patient, and sometimes you might have to wait for an hour before you can actually work on them. There's a lot of things that go behind the scenes.
अच्छा, एक इसी से क्वेश्चन है कि अब वो जो पाकिस्तान में जिस आजकल एक ब्राइडल मेकअप का ट्रेंड शुरू हो गया है और हर एक घर के अंदर में एक पार्लर खुला हुआ है और वहाँ पे वो लोग कहते हैं जी वी आर मेकअप आर्टिस्ट. तो उस तरह की इंडस्ट्री ने कितना फ़ायदा पहुँचाया है वो उन लोगों को जो अपनी मेहनत करके कुछ टाइम का एक्सपीरियंस लगा के इस इंडस्ट्री में आए हैं, जिनका जैसे आप है बैकग्राउंड एक्सपीरियंस है, फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में भी काम किया, और वो लोग जो बस ट्यूटोरियल्स देख के शुरू कर देते हैं और अपना बिजनेस स्टार्ट कर लेते हैं?
सो दो चीज़ें हैं. एक तो ये कि वाकई कुछ लोग बहुत टैलेंटेड हैं और उन्हें वाकई वो अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, और दे शुड promote themselves and get those clients and do the job that is required for that day, mostly bridal. Um, but then there are those they charge you, they do the job, but then it's काम
It's not
आपको
worth
आता
it.
नहीं है,
Yeah,
तो
yeah.
आप बाद में जब मेकअप हो जाता है तो फिर वो काफ़ी परेशानी होती है.
अच्छा सीखें कहाँ से?
There are schools, there are many schools. पाकिस्तान में IFAP है, इंटरनेशनल फैशन एकेडमी पाकिस्तान, जो लॉरियल स्पॉन्सर करती है. आई थिंक मेरीन सैयद इज़ वन ऑफ द डायरेक्टर्स ऑन देयर. आई बीन देयर, मैंने क्लासेस दी हैं वहाँ पे मेकअप की जाके. और they don't just cover fashion, they also cover beauty and therapy and everything. So I think there are loads of in fact जो कराची में मैंने ब्लश के नाम से है सैलून, वहाँ से क्लासेस दी हैं. वो देती हैं क्लासेस भी. There are many places they can go to and learn. ऐसे तो
ओके.
yeah, there are.
तो आपको लगता है कि इसका स्कोप है आगे, मतलब लोग जो यंग जनरेशन है उनको करना चाहिए, बिकॉज एवरी अदर गर्ल और वुमेन इज डूइंग द सेम थिंग.
Okay, so scope इस तरह है कि जो friends and family start शुरू में आते हैं.
या
I'm not talking about the industry, right? I'm just talking about private wedding function
या
की आप बात कर रहे हो. उसका ये है कि आप शुरू में जब काम करते हो, obviously friends and family आपके पास आते हैं. But how many times are you going to dress friends if you're good? How many times will they come back to
बट
you?
यू कांट अर्न
उसके
मनी फ्रॉम
बाद
देम.
वो आगे फिर चीज़, मतलब you it's like it is a business and it has to be treated like one. अगर तो आप treat करते हो इसको as a business, then you always have a scope. But if you just treat it as like TikTok के लिए कर रहे हैं, तो फिर वो it's like a fad, खत्म हो जाएगा बाद में, आगे जाएगा नहीं. So it just depends on how you are treating it and how skillful you are.
अच्छा, आपने बॉलीवुड के सेलिब्रिटीज के साथ काम किया और पाकिस्तान के भी टॉप सेलिब्रिटीज के साथ काम किया, सो कैसा एक्सपीरियंस रहा आपका बॉलीवुड और पाकिस्तान के सेलिब्रिटीज के साथ?
I actually have been very lucky. I'm quite professional. I'm not somebody who will go and joke with them and be their friend. I literally go with my little kit and I get on with my job. So it's been a pleasurable experience for me.
वेरी प्रोफेशनल.
It's very professional, of course,
Hmm.
but it's been a very good experience for me. And hence 16 years. I mean, कोई ऐसे तो नहीं कि फिर काम करेगा. So yeah, it's been good.
तो कोई ऐसी मेमोरी आपको किसी के साथ काम करते हुए जो स्टिल रिमेंबर, यार उनके साथ मुझे बहुत मज़ा आया काम करके?
So there are a few. I mean, the first time I worked with Deepika, for example, I was so nervous. I was double checking कि मेरी kit में सब कुछ वो हो जो मतलब on trend हो, and you know उनकी skin care. Obviously आप जब काम नहीं किया होता, you only go by photographs, and photographs are very misleading. So फिर आपके पास color combination सही होने चाहिए. You need to make sure that you have everything that you need. And when I went there, she's a dream.
अच्छा.
Um, क्या कहते हैं, client. She really is. She's so courteous. She's lovely to work for. And she knows exactly what she wants. And very, पता ना कि कोई no fuss, nothing. बहुत अच्छा experience रहा.
लेकिन मैंने सुना था कि जो बॉलीवुड के सेलिब्रिटीज़ हैं उनके अपने मेकअप आर्टिस्ट, पूरी एक क्रू उनका
That's
साथ
true.
जाता है.
But the thing is, I have been doing it for 16 years. And my first film was Veer, and we had quite a few line producers. And when they saw that not only do I know my work, but I'm also very professional, I go do my job and I leave. So any job that came through from Bollywood, be it Pakistan or India, they would contact me. And for the longest time, I think initially I was the only Asian person working in Bollywood in London. And the reason for that was and the reason for them to call me back again and again was because I understood our skin. Because even when I was doing my courses in London College of Beauty and Therapy, I'm Asian. And what they tend to do is they make you look more orange because they themselves go for the tan look. So jo meri teacher thi, she was French, and she gave me a very orange look, and I was like, where do I go and wash my face? But that's nothing to do, that wasn't personal. It was just something that they're used to of. But at the same time, हमारे आपको पता Pakistani culture या Indian culture as well, they prefer looking brighter and lighter. So वो चीज़ understand करनी was easier for me to understand that. And I always ask, do you prefer how your color or do you want to go a little brighter? So वो brighter उनके लिए like एक ज़रा अच्छा word रहता है, and they normally go for the brighter look. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But I understood that very quickly, and I understood, this is what they want and need. And I was called in for a lot of time. So your question, कि उनके अपने होते हैं, yes, you're absolutely right. But then there are times when they travel from, maybe they're not traveling from India. Sometimes their visas don't get accepted. Also, when they know there's a makeup artist in London they have already worked with and they're happy with, sometimes they're okay if the visa is not accepted because they know that somebody else will cover it. So that's why that's how I was hired for Deepika, because they knew that there's a makeup artist who can do the job, and I was happy to oblige, of course, happy, very happy. And same thing with Sonakshi's time. I think uske time pe her makeup artist actually couldn't make it. He
Okay.
was quite ill because he also was the makeup artist for her father. So he was quite an older person at that us time pe. So he couldn't get his visa and he was quite ill. And they were like, "Don't worry, we know somebody." And they contacted me and from India, and I said, "Yes, these are my rates and this is how it is." And Tara explained kiya, send them my show reel. She was When I met her, I didn't see her worried at all. She was at ease completely, and she said, "Let's get on with it." And we did, and we had a really good time. So it's been. I would say Allah has made it very easy for me. I'll just say that. But I guess it's also because I make sure everyone else is looked after the way they need to, with in terms of makeup and hair. I do what is required for the role, whatever it might be.
अच्छा, दिस बिकॉज़ यू आर ऑनेस्ट विद योर वर्क एंड यू आर प्रोफेशनल, तो वो चीज़ें आपके लिए आसान हो जाती हैं।
Because मैं अपना makeup नहीं थोप रही होती हूँ. I listen to what the client needs.
या
And yes, when they do ask me, absolutely, I'll give them my opinion and I'll tell them what looks good on them. And I have. I mean, I've directed makeup looks for films and also shows and whatnot. But when somebody's asking me to give them something what they want, I happily oblige because they are the face of on that day and they want to look a certain way, and I'm okay with that.
परफेक्ट। अच्छा, इसी से एक फ़ॉलो अप क्वेश्चन है। आपने कहा कि नॉर्मली यू आस्क पीपल कि आपने कोई थोड़ा ब्राइटल लुक चाहिए या टैन चाहिए। एक क्वेश्चन है कि ये ब्यूटी स्टैंडर्ड सेट किसने किया है? कि गोरा ही खूबसूरत है, टैन खूबसूरत नहीं है, यहाँ के मुल्क में तो वो गोरों को देखते नहीं हैं।
It didn't start now. I mean, if you look back, मतलब you can go back to the Rajas and Ranis times, because आप देखें जब जो काम करने वाले लोग थे, they used to be outside and they would be dark because of the tanning, whereas जो महारानीज and रानीज थी उस ज़माने की, वो अंदर रहती थी 100 पर्दों में. You can go back to Cleopatra. I mean, the amount of beauty products that woman has produced in her lifetime,
पर
crazy.
वो तो एक मिथ है, वो अगर रियलिटी में देखें उसकी तो पिक्चर कुछ और दिखाते हैं, जो फिल्मों में दिखाया है वो कुछ और उन्होंने
That's
पोर्ट्रे किया
true,
हुआ है।
but चले उससे निकल के आप महारानी से वापस आ जाएं, तो वहाँ तो यही है ना कि they do go for आप, मेरा नहीं ख्याल कोई भी आप अगर देखें या जो मैंने सुनी है अभी तक स्टोरीज जितनी भी पुरानी, I do not know of anyone who was of dark complexion, unless आप साउथ इंडिया में जाएं तो
क्योंकि
वो और
स्टोरीज
बात
ऐसे
है.
बनी है ना हमारे बचपन से। देखें ना आप,
But
सिंड्रेला को देखें, स्नो वाइट, सिंड्रेला
वो तो
वाइट, ऑल
हमारी
वाइट्स।
स्टोरीज है ही
या
नहीं ना,
या
लेकिन हमारी की
तो
स्टोरीज
हम
कुछ
उसी को देख के तो बड़े हैं, हमारी जो भी बची हैं।
ठीक है, लेकिन अगर आप असल लैला मजनू की लैला को देखें तो वो तो बहुत डिफरेंट स्टोरी है, राइट?
अच्छा,
लाइक
शी इज डार्क एंड द गाय इज डार्क
she's
आल्सो।
not just dark, she's very average looking.
या
I don't
या
want to say it,
या
but she is how it is when
या
it comes to beauty standards. But then again, if you look at the ladies from Iran, from maybe the 14th century, no, not even 14th, maybe 13th century, the standards are very different of beauty. But I guess आजकल यही है कि we have, I mean, I don't want to say this, but there are a lot of people who do say this, that we are so complexed as people that we think कि गोरे जो हैं, अगर गोरे हैं तो आप अगर गोरे ने वही बात की है जो किसी देसी ने की है, तो you're more likely to listen to a गोरा person than a देसी person. बात वही कह रहा है. तो I guess it comes down to those things. But personally, आजकल की जो generation है, it's actually the opposite. My daughter, for example, she wears 2 shades darker foundation क्योंकि
नहीं,
उनको
लेकिन
होता
वो
है कि we're brown and proud.
नहीं, लेकिन ये वो है ना जो पाकिस्तान से बाहर है। लेकिन पाकिस्तान के अंदर अगर आज अभी भी देखें, देयर इज़ अ कॉम्प्लेक्स वहाँ
There
पे।
is the complex.
अगर आप
There's a
गोरे नहीं हैं, आपकी शादी नहीं हो रही है, आप
Yeah.
गोरे नहीं हैं, तो बड़े प्रॉब्लम्स हैं आपके साथ। और आप गोरे हैं तो आप, यू आर द
The
किंग और द
doors
क्वीन।
the doors do
या
open more for you
या
if you are
या
fairer. But
तो ये स्टैंडर्ड जो हमने सेट किए हैं भाई, मेरी नज़र में ज़्यादती है। वुमेन्स जो है, इसको किस तरह हम काउंटर कर सकती है स्टैंडर्ड के बारे में, हम उसको नीचे लेकर आए या बात करें, बिकॉज़ वुमेन्स आर द वन हू आर सफरिंग मोर।
well, I think it's good to talk. If women do talk about this openly, like Amna Ilyas, yeah. So women, if they do talk about it, it does come across, and then more women are able to step into that limelight and say, "Listen, I am dark, and I'm proud to be, who I am." So Amna Ilyas is one of those models who did, and she's of dark complexion, but the way she speaks about her complexion and how proud she is to be who she is, I think that's beautiful. And I think because of her, a lot more other artists, not artists, sorry, a lot more other models and people, girls generally, have come across and come forward and express how happy they are with who they are, rather than going really light on their skin, so to speak.
ये जो अब डार्क ब्राइटर कलर के लिए हमने ब्यूटी स्टैंडर्ड सेट किया है, अब इसी ब्यूटी स्टैंडर्ड की वजह से एक और इंडस्ट्री ने मतलब प्रोड्यूस होगी, कॉस्मेटिक इंडस्ट्री, जिसके अंदर फिलर्स आ गए, बोटक्स आ गए और मल्टीपल चीज़ें आगे
The injections to look lighter.
या इंजेक्शन टू लुक लाइटर, ब्राइटर एंड बेटर.
There's so many side
तो
effects to that. It's unbelievable.
एग्जैक्टली तो मेरा सा क्वेश्चन ये है कि इस वजह से डोंट यू थिंक कि सोसाइटी के अंदर एक डिप्रेशन आ चुकी है?
I think it's been slow building for a long time, but I think COVID just pushed it right to the edge. And because we were all closed up, we had nothing to do but go to either social media or just otherwise can say confined in your own space. Yes, depression is there, but then these days anything can give anyone depression, unfortunately. But it's sad. It's really sad that people feel that they need to they need to look a certain way to be happy. I think happiness comes from within, and if you're not happy as a person and you're not happy with who you are as a person, everything else is just funny, as they say. It's ani and jani wali baat hai.
ठीक है, अब आपने मेकअप से अपना करियर शुरू किया, उसके बाद अब आप कॉस्ट्यूम और प्रोड्यूसिंग पे हैं, तो हाउ वाज योर ट्रांजिशन वाज, व्हाई डिड यू ट्रांजिट फ्रॉम मेकअप टू कॉस्ट्यूम और प्रोड्यूसिंग? आपको क्यों ज़रूरत महसूस हुई इस चीज़ की?
I don't think it was a choice, to be honest. It was something that was needed by somebody at that point, and I was happy to. I was happy to jump in because I knew what to do. Um, it's like, when you don't know something, like when I didn't know film industry from behind the scenes, I would enjoy most films unless the story was really bad. But now it's so difficult for me to enjoy a film. It really is. I mean, for the longest time it was. I mean, now it's getting a little better, but for the longest time I couldn't enjoy a film. I was always literally saying, "Is kapde sahi nahi? Oh, ye iska dupatta pehle idhar tha. Oh, lighting yahan sahi nahi aa rahi." You get so involved because when you do the makeup, it's not that the makeup kar diya and that's the end of it. You stand behind the camera to make sure that everything is on point, everything looks perfect. Dekhiye post mein extra kaam na lagana pade unko. So when you are behind the camera, behind the screen, looking at the whole picture being recorded, you're not just looking at the face, you're making sure, because it's teamwork. So you're making sure the costume ke koi matlab it's straight, the buttoned up sahi hai. It was an easy transition for me because I have done fashion as part of my pre-degree course, so it was not something that I hadn't done before. I could sew, stitch, source, give, style something. So it was easy for me in that sense. Production was to produce was initially, I thought I could do it, and then I actually took a step back and said, "Ki hai kya?" And I thought, "Ki nahi, it's hard work." It's but then when you become a producer, that's when your administrative job helps you, because you are looking at the logistics, everything that happens in a production itself. So I think because of my background in administration, that really helped me, and it's not it's as I said, I've just been really blessed. I'll just say that my transitions have been quite easy and smooth.
हम बात करें वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट की, तो आपकी फील्ड जो है क्रिएटिव फील्ड, ये कैसे हेल्प करी वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट के लिए, मतलब हाउ यू आर एम्पावरिंग वुमेन विद योर फील्ड?
I have done classes in London for women who are completely housebound, and not because they want to, because they have a child who is disabled and they're not able to get out. So I've had classes in Bedfordshire and typical desi area जिस तरह होते हैं, तो मैंने वहाँ जाके classes दी हैं और free classes दी हैं housewives को, जो कि for example there's a disability center in Bedfordshire, और वहाँ पे every week वो जमा होती हैं अपने बच्चों के साथ, तो बच्चे तक खेल सकें. So what I did was we organized an event there जहाँ पे वो आएँ, बच्चे उनके looked after हैं because वहाँ carers भी होते हैं, और they would sit with me for an hour and a half, अपना मेकअप लेके आए. I would give them tips on how they can do their own makeup, and they want to learn something from what I have already done. या किसी को look उनको inspire कोई हुए हैं जिससे वो, I did that with them for an hour and a half, and in fact it went over for 2 hours, and it was lovely. In fact one lady तो कह रही थी कि मैं समझ नहीं आ रही कि मैं किस तरह क्या मैंने मेकअप करना है, मैंने निकलना है, लेकिन हो सकता नहीं. मैंने कहा, why don't you use your phone? You can have an hour, you can put up on your social media कि जी मैं आधे घंटे की क्लास देने वाली हूँ, आप सब आ जाएं. So initially you can do it for free, and then when you feel that you have the confidence and the skill, and you can take it further, you can start charging them. And not just that, they can come to your house, because initially I mean, I work mobile. I don't have a salon, so to speak. I work freelance mobile. So when they need something done, either they can come to mine or I can go to them. So she could do the same thing. So I have been empowering them, and it's not something that it's very difficult. It's actually it gives you a really nice feeling helping somebody help themselves. I think there's nothing better you can give somebody than hope, and I think it's very important to give that. And I think those who are giving, like Musayat Misbah and many others, I think is incredible.
आई थिंक यही असल नेकी होती है कि यू गिव देम बैक विदाउट एनी
You
एक्सपेक्टेशंस.
don't lose
Yeah.
anything by giving
Yeah.
back. You
Yeah.
always gain it. So
100%. या सेलिब्रिटी मेकअप आर्टिस्ट और रेगुलर मेकअप आर्टिस्ट में क्या डिफरेंस है?
celebrity makeup artist has done a lot of celebrities.
So just because they do celebrity work, they've been called celebrity makeup artist, या कोई learning curve भी होता है या कोई
No,
special schools हैं classes जहाँ से वो सीख सकते हैं?
No, it's not that you learn as a celebrity makeup artist. You become one because you have experience enough. You have had the experience to be able to call to do a celebrity.
Okay.
So after you've done a few, I mean I know people who just have done one and already celebrity बन जाते हैं.
नहीं, अब
makeup
किसी का वो
artist.
celebrity नहीं मिल रहा, वो क्या करे?
वो वेट करे जब तक से celebrity का मेकअप नहीं करता to become a celebrity makeup
Okay,
artist.
it's just like a journey, like
It's a
number
journey.
of years of experience,
is-
and then one day you
To
become
be
a
honest,
celebrity makeup artist.
it's social media has made it so easy now. So I know some certain makeup artists, and I'm not saying Asian, Pakistani nahi, मैं Arab की भी बात कर रही हूँ. They're so good at TikTok. When I look at them, and I don't look at them as makeup artists. I look at them as entertainers who can do really good makeup because they're doing all these different dances and हाथ उठाते हैं तो जी लाइनर लग गया, हाथ नीचे करते हैं तो मेरा लाइनर घूम गया, फिर दोनों हाथ उठाते हैं तो दोनों लाइनर लग गए. And it's great fun to watch them. Don't get me wrong, it is great fun, but they
Like-
know their craft.
Yeah, like you say, it's entertainment.
It is entertainment, and they know their craft. That's why they're doing what they're doing, and they are good at it. And once they get to do someone who's a celebrity, they're a celebrity makeup artists.
Okay, fine. अच्छा, आपने बॉलीवुड के साथ काफ़ी काम किया, तो
Mainly.
जब बीच में बैन लगा बॉलीवुड की तरफ से कि दे कैन नॉट वर्क विद पाकिस्तानी आर्टिस्ट, तो देन आपने कैसे अपने करियर को सर्वाइव किया?
So it was quite interesting because the producers who knew me knew, my work, knew who I was. So they would still hire me, but they would request कि आयशा प्लीज़ ये मत बताना कि आपका लिंक पाकिस्तान से है या बैकग्राउंड पाकिस्तान से. आप कहते ना मैं यूके की हूँ, बस मैं ब्रिटिश हूँ. और so I used to say that. I'm like, they say, अच्छा, so where are you from? Like, oh, I'm British, okay, fine, which I am. And then they would say, okay, so but what's your background? And I was like, oh God, do I have to tell them? So I would tell them the truth. I would say,
सब कॉन्टिनेंट.
no, I would say my father was born in Ludhiana, which he was, and obviously
Achha.
that was pre-partition. So
Yeah.
I said, yeah, he was born in Ludhiana, and my mother was always in Gujarat, Pakistan. So she's from there. So then they would say things like, oh, okay, so you're Indian and Pakistani. And I would say, I'm British. And then they would say, okay, so they would ask silly questions. And then the best question they would ask me, cricket match mein kisko support karti hain aap? And I would say, England ko. And then they would say, nahi, please. And I would say, I don't like cricket. I actually like
ये
football.
लिटमस टेस्ट हो गया
I
ना
like
क्रिकेट मैच वाला.
football. And then it was actually quite funny because my father came on set once, and I was sitting with this production team, and then they were like, "Oh, my father, he's a patriotic, army ex-army officer." तो आए तो जी बातें शुरू हो गई. उन्होंने कहा, "अंकल जी फिर आप लुधियाना में because they knew in conversations
Yeah.
that he was in the army, so they're like, लुधियाना में आप army में थे?" My father like, नहीं मैं तो पाकिस्तान आर्मी के साथ था. And I was like, oh my God.
पोल खुल गया.
And then the funny thing is कि अगर आप अभी बात करें किसी भी इंडियन से, स्पेशली मोदी के बाद, they don't like the Mughals because they were invaders. इंडिया से तो नहीं थे, तो वो जितने भी इन्वेडर्स हैं तो they don't appreciate. My father's like, मैं मुगल बैकग्राउंड, like, Aisha, not only is your father from Pakistan, he's also Mughal. And I'm like, oh my God. So it was quite interesting like that. It was quite funny. And then खोली जा रहे हैं, I'm like, मुझे बस अब काम नहीं मिलने वाला, मैं घर जा रही हूँ, कुछ नहीं होने वाला यहाँ पे. But they were nice. They were, in fact, South Indians से जब मैंने काम किया तो जो डायरेक्टर थे, जब नया ये हुआ था, he found out straight away that I was Pakistani, and he came next to me, took a picture with me, and he posted on his social media that working with my Pakistani makeup artist. And I was like, आप तो मेरा काम खत्म करवाएं, आप तो चले जाएंगे, मेरा आगे काम रुक जाएगा. But no, I've been fortunate because they know कि भी काम तो काम है. अब यूके में वो they only say one thing, she's the British है, हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते, she's British. तो अगर तो पाकिस्तानी होती, like they can't work with Atif Aslam. They couldn't work with Atif or Rahat in London.
आर्टिस्ट के साथ काम नहीं कर
They
सकते.
couldn't because they were Pakistani still.
Yeah.
but they could work with me because I was British.
क्योंकि आप बैक स्टेज में काम करती हैं ऐसे भी। या
No, they couldn't work with the, we had a lot of issues. Like there was a huge juggle. Because when it's initially started, the industry in London, yes, the production houses would be Indian, mostly. I would say 99.9% they were Indian production houses in London. Makeup artists, obviously, I was doing it. So I was Pakistani. The catering companies would be Pakistani. Transport would be Pakistani. And lighting would be mix. So the point is, we were a lot of Pakistanis working on set. So it was a great shift. They had to literally look for people.
अच्छा, विमेन का रोल मॉडल कौन है? रिलीजियस पर्सपेक्टिव से देख लें या कल्चरल देख लें या नेशन का देख लें, कोई रोल मॉडल है किसी भी औरत के पास?
Yeah, sure, I can give you one right now. Musarat Mirza is amazing.
नहीं,
I
आपका है,
think
लेकिन एक होता है ना, जैसे लड़कों से बात करें, कोई भी रोल मॉडल हमारे मर्दों के पास आ
there
जाके
are so
एक रोल
many.
मॉडल आ
There are
जाता है।
so many women out there who are good women, empowered women who are helping others. But ये ज़रूरी नहीं कि वो अब बात ये कि it's like this. I've been doing this for 16 years. I think I've just maybe अब जाके मैं कभी कैमरे पे आ जाती हूँ. I used to just walk away straight away. And when we do something good, we don't like being questioned, photographed, featured. अब ये है कि I've come to a point कि चलो ठीक है, now I need to do more, and for that I do say yes to interviews and things. But before, for the longest time, we weren't. लेकिन ये है कि we women have our women that we look up to, and it start from Bibi Fatma, and it can go on till, well, as I said, Musad Misbah, for all you know. लेकिन हैं हमारे भी sports में भी हैं, and we do like women who are doing well for themselves.
अब जो विमेन डिवोर्स हैं, ठीक है, एंड दे आर लुकिंग फॉर सम अपॉर्चुनिटीज़, और कुछ मेकअप का भी काम करती हैं, तो आप उनको क्या एडवाइस करेंगे? ये जनरली डिवोर्स वुमन को व्हाट वुड यू एडवाइस?
I would say go for it. I would absolutely say go for it. Makeup is something that you learn over time. It's not something that you're born with. You practice makes it perfect. ठीक है, तो आप घर में से करना चाहती हैं, घर से करें. Women don't mind going to other women's house to get their makeup done. So that's one thing. They can, if they don't have kids, they can travel to locations and do the makeup. किसी के घर पे जाके bridal makeup करना है, it's a very acceptable thing, especially in London. तो बहुत acceptable चीज़ है कि आप किसी घर जा रहे हैं, किसी के जाके मेकअप करके आ रहे हैं. So I think if they can, absolutely go for it. Do short courses. अगर आप बड़ा course नहीं कर सकते, because there are many courses, like for example I do a 5-day course, I do a 3-day extensive, I do day courses, master classes जिसे कहते हैं. तो take them on. If you can't do the bigger 5 days or 4-year qualification भी आपकी है मेकअप की, otherwise तो अगर आप नहीं करना चाहते बड़ा कोर्स, आप शॉर्ट कोर्सेज करें, just to get an idea. If you like something, if you like it, if you do enjoy it, I would say dive into it. Absolutely.
कोई लास्ट एडवाइस आप देना चाहें यंग जनरेशन को,
No,
करियर
just,
से रिलेटेड?
as I'll give two. My advice would be understand yourself before you ask somebody else who you are. And as for career, and secondly, happiness comes from within you. The sooner you understand that, your life will be so much better and easier. And for career, I would say any career that you take, whether it's to be a doctor, whether it's to be a makeup artist, whether it's to be a focus puller on a film set, know your craft. Whether you learn it in the conventional way or you learn it on set as an apprentice, learn it, because when you know what you are there to do, your confidence just comes, and when you're confident doing something, you make your name, you make your mark. So I think that's very important.
थैंक यू सो मच। आई होप आपने काफ़ी कुछ सीखा होगा। अगर आपने मैम आयशा से बात करनी है तो डिस्क्रिप्शन पे उनकी डिटेल आई होगी, आप उनसे भी कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं। एंड कीप वॉचिंग एंड कीप सपोर्टिंग। मिलते हैं आपको नेक्स्ट वीक विद न्यू गेस्ट। थैंक यू सो मच।